Thank you,
5
Mr.
minutes.
Chairman. You know, I've heard this morning and today a lot about pipeline infrastructure being inadequate or flexibility. I haven't heard anything about storage. Is storage a viable option for local utilities? Can they build storage for natural gas, or is there some reason why that's not on the table? Whoever wants to answer it.
Historically, there has been some natural gas storage in local distribution companies in the form of small liquid natural gas.
Right.
There are also geologic opportunities to store, but they are not universally available across the entire country, sir.
Mr. Benoit?
So I presume your question was with regard to electrical storage as opposed to fuel storage?
Natural gas storage.
Yeah, so I think the most practical solution, at least for our region in terms of fuel storage, is LNG. And there are some large LNG facilities around the region, and I think that ultimately the solution is a combination of pipeline and storage, because one has to think of the possibility that a pipeline could be compromised in some way, and you need to be able to ride through that event. And one way of dealing with that is through local storage.
Is storage more expensive than pipelines? Or
Typically, yes. I think LNG, from some of the numbers that I've seen, it's the energy required in order to compress and liquefy the gas makes it relatively expensive compared to the gas in the pipe.
Okay, thank you. So what would be the best way then, Mr. Van Welle, to get the flexibility you need for reliability from natural gas?
So I think it depends where you are, and if you're in a restructured wholesale electricity market, such as exists in New England, what we need to do is to make sure that the incentives for our generators are such that they will seek reliable fuel supplies. They will then have a number of options open to them. So, for example, if we have created a strong performance incentive for them and they're out there looking for reliable fuel supply, they could choose to put in dual fuel infrastructure, a tank of oil, and switch from gas to oil if the gas system becomes constrained, or they could enter into a bilateral contract with an LNG storage provider to draw gas from the LNG storage facility, or a contract with the pipelines for no-notice service or firm service from the pipes. So I think the starting point in solving this problem is to have the generators feel like they have to have adequate fuel in order to meet the call from the ISO.
So in other words, sort of a free market approach with the right incentives.
That's right. We won't dictate what their solution is. We just want them to produce electrical energy when we need them to.
Mr. Muller, I think it was you that mentioned there was a conflict between when certain natural gas pipelines are only approved to deliver during certain periods of time. Does that sound familiar?
No. I was commenting about the fact that gas pipelines are constructed typically based on a subscription form of service where the original owners of the gas capacity have typically been residential heat loads. And so the pipe has been sized based on the original use. And typically those original users, it's 20 years gone by since those pipes have been constructed. So it's unclear in terms of how much capacity is available during what times of the year to supply this new use.
So that wasn't a contractual issue more than as a physical capacity issue?
It's two issues. One is the physical issue and the other is a contractual issue. And because they are both fairly opaque, it's a little hard to figure out what the actual fact circumstance is.
Do you have the resources to make that work better?
We've engaged with the natural gas pipelines that serve our region, and they are working with us to answer those questions.
Okay. Mr. Epple, you mentioned that you felt Colorado was ahead of the curve on these issues. What has given Colorado that sort of wherewithal to get into that position?
Congressman, this was actually driven by the voters of Colorado. Our renewable energy portfolio was really adopted by a ballot initiative, which the legislature then enhanced. And there's been a consistent desire for Colorado to have as much fuel diversification as possible. We spend quite a bit of time on energy efficiency also to reduce overall fuel usage. But it really comes from the voters of Colorado. They've spoken pretty clearly on this topic.
Okay, thank you. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.